What happens when you talk to a nurse or a doctor or a lactation consultant or all of the above, and they say, but the latch looks fine. I don't know why you're in pain. Since the latch looks fine, you probably just have to deal with it and it'll get better eventually. Hey, Mama Bear. Welcome to the Breastfeeding with Confidence podcast. Do you dream of bonding with your baby through exclusive breastfeeding, but worry about breastfeeding pain or low milk supply? Maybe you're struggling with breastfeeding and no one seems to have any answers. I'm Jaimie, doula, international board certified lactation consultant, and mom of 5, and I have been where you are. After working through painful latches, milk supply worries, and postpartum depression, and supporting countless mothers through their breastfeeding journeys for over 8 years, I'm here to tell you breastfeeding doesn't have to be perfect to be positive. Each week, I'll share breastfeeding tips to help you prevent and overcome unexpected breastfeeding challenges so you can actually enjoy bonding with your baby. If you are ready to shut out the toxic whispers of the world, embrace your God-given intuition, and release your inner fierce mama bear, grab some coffee or your favorite herbal tea and let's dive in. Before we get started today, I did want to take a quick second to tell you about my free Secrets to a First Latch Without Pain class, which is available at littlebearlactation.com/secrets, where we will bust some breastfeeding myths. You will learn how to create a breastfeeding plan, and you'll learn my secret go-to latch technique that has helped hundreds of moms transform breastfeeding in just a matter of seconds. And once you're inside, you'll have access to our free Breastfeeding with Confidence support community where you can ask all of your breastfeeding questions and get answers. This class is perfect for you if you are pregnant and planning to breastfeed, or even if you're already navigating some breastfeeding challenges and just want a reset and a little crash course on what you can do a little differently. Jump inside secrets at littlebearlactation.com/secrets to start cultivating a confident breastfeeding story. Now let's dive into today's episode. I want you to imagine that you are trying to breastfeed your baby and this has meant so much to you. And you start breastfeeding and all of a sudden it freaking hurts. What do you do? Well, if you're like most moms, the first thing you do is like, okay, well, let's fix the latch, right? Well, what happens when you talk to a nurse or a doctor or a lactation consultant or all of the above, and they say, but the latch looks fine. I don't know why you're in pain. Since the latch looks fine, you probably just have to deal with it and it'll get better eventually. This is basically where my story begins with my breastfeeding experience with my oldest. They kept telling me he had a great looking latch and they didn't know why breastfeeding hurt. And this is the story that so many of the mothers that I work with tell me. So I had made a TikTok post about this. I'm no longer on TikTok, so if you're going to all go look for me on TikTok, you'll probably find some old videos, but I can't get back on TikTok because I hastily deleted the app when TikTok died and then it came back to life but still can't download it. You can't download it if you deleted it during that time. So yeah, I no longer can be on TikTok, but that's okay. That does not bother me because it is a toxic place. I'm about to tell you just how toxic it is. But I had posted on there about this phenomenon, telling moms if your baby's latch looks good but does not feel good, it is not good. I had so many people come back to me telling me, like, if your baby's latch looks good and you're in pain, then that means you just have to deal with it. It'll eventually get better. So I wanted to talk about that today because I keep getting the same responses on Instagram. So we need to peel this back because you deserve to understand exactly what is going on. Okay? So if your baby has what looks like a deep latch, from the outside, their mouth looks wide open. It includes areola. It doesn't seem like the baby's just on the nipple, but you're still having pain. There can still be a problem with the latch. And I've had some people in the comments on Instagram saying things like, okay, well, I had a lot of pain, but my baby had a good latch. So there was nothing wrong with the latch because the pain eventually got better and I didn't change anything. And that's another reason that I really, really want to talk about this entire phenomenon. We can see part of the latch from the outside, right? We can see, like I said, if their mouth is wide open, if it includes areola, we can see that. What we can't see is what's happening on the inside. We can't see if the baby's tongue is properly extended, elevated, cupping. and doing all of the motions that it needs to do for effective breastfeeding. And if there is one thing out of line, like one little piece is not working the way it's supposed to, you can have pain because your baby is going to compensate for that. And however they compensate often leads to pain. Sometimes it's just a matter of a slight position change to be more supportive of your baby's physiological reflexes and help them feed more efficiently. Sometimes it's a little more deep than that. But what a lot of moms don't realize is over the course of breastfeeding, you and your baby are kind of learning things and you're making adjustments. You're constantly making adjustments. When it's not working, you're making adjustments. So when moms say, like, oh, it hurt for the first 3 weeks and I didn't change anything, but it magically got better, to that I say, no, you definitely changed something. You and your baby both changed something. Over the first few weeks, your baby likely got more postural stability. So that changed. You probably adjusted techniques or positions without even realizing it. You just learned how to hold your baby in more supportive ways. You made small adjustments that were just subconscious and natural, and you figured that out. So something did change. But for other moms, nothing changes, nothing gets better. And it's like, why? So if your baby's latch looks good, but it still hurts, what do we do? Because you can feel really hopeless and broken when everybody's telling you, well, the latch looks fine. I don't know why you're in pain. They might make you feel like you're just sensitive, like you're just broken. Maybe you're just not made for breastfeeding. And none of that is true. I'm here to tell you none of that is true. If there is pain, there is a reason. It could just be a simple adjustment. And no, you don't have to wait weeks for it to get better. Just because some moms say, oh, after a month and a half of breastfeeding pain, it finally got better. And therefore, you need to just accept pain, and pain is just a normal part of the process. That is still not true. That is still not true. Just because it took them 3, 5, 6 weeks to figure out what was wrong and fix it, whether that was consciously or subconsciously, does not mean that you have to sit around and just wait for things to get better and hope and pray and be miserable in the process. Like, that is so much wasted time that you could be enjoying your baby. If I could go back to the first 6 weeks with my son and have somebody tell me when he was a week old that this pain you're feeling is not necessary. And yeah, it looks like he has a good latch, but he absolutely does not if you are in pain and you need to change something or get answers and figure out why there is pain, and then you'll be able to enjoy your baby. I would have paid you $1 million freaking dollars. Honestly, like, I guess I wouldn't have because I don't have $1 million, but you get my point. I lost so much time getting to know my baby, bonding with my baby. I lost so much time feeling depressed, helpless, confused, alone, and not having answers. And everybody kept telling me, your baby has a good latch. You just need to wait it out. You're just not tough enough. I don't know what's wrong with you, but this is normal. And if you can't hack it, sorry about your luck. Just quit. And that's not okay. It's really not okay. And if that's what somebody has told you or how somebody has made you feel, I want you to know that you can get answers. You can get answers. What we need to do first is not just look at how your baby's latch looks from the outside. We need to look at how your baby's latch is working on the inside. We do that by doing what's called a functional oral examination. So, as a lactation consultant, when I'm working in person with parents, I'll usually go through this process of assessing how the tongue is working. And this is more than just looking, it's more than just having the baby suck my finger for a minute. We do all kinds of range of motion exercises. When I work with parents virtually, we still do this examination. And I love, love, love doing oral function exams with parents virtually because the parents, they're my eyes, my ears, my fingers, right? I walk them through how to do this examination, and they end up seeing and feeling and understanding exactly what I will be explaining to them what we're looking for and how to do it. And then I ask them to describe it. And as they start describing it, you can see the connections being made. They start understanding why they're feeling what they're feeling. so we can get to the root cause of the latching issues and the pain. Now, sometimes maybe it's not something with oral function. Maybe it's your baby's alignment. Maybe they were in a really weird position in utero, and so they have a lot of tension, and that just needs to be addressed. It's literally, when I tell you, it is as simple as shifting your baby down about 1.5 inches and supporting their head in a different way. That can make all the difference. There's a saying, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Where there's pain, there's a reason. Something is causing that pain. So then you have two options. You can either sit there and deal with the pain and hope it gets better, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. Or you can figure out the cause of the pain and see if there's a solution. Spoiler alert, I'd say 90% of the time, that's a non-scientific number, there is a solution. There is almost always a solution. Sometimes it's an easy, quick solution. Sometimes it's a deeper solution and it takes more effort and time. And I'm not promising you that we'll wave a magic wand and fix the pain. But when we know what's wrong, we can create a plan to fix it. And when we have a plan, we have hope. And when we have hope, we can actually start enjoying breastfeeding. We don't have our peace and our joy and our confidence stolen from us when we have hope. So what we want to do is always go back to basics. First, we're going to work on reflexive physiological latching techniques, okay? And we're going to figure out if it is just something simple. Let's start with the simple stuff first, right? We do not want to make this difficult. We do not want to assume that just because you're having pain, there's a tongue tie, and automatically we have to just like go rush into surgery or go see a dentist or ENT. Like, that's not what we need to do. First, we get back to the basics. Let's get a reflexive latch. Let's use a physiological breastfeeding position. Let's be really supportive of our baby's design and work with that design. Because I will be honest with you, a lot of what you have been taught about breastfeeding, especially in the hospital breastfeeding classes or from your nursing, a lot of what you see on social media, a lot of that is based in pitting mom and baby against each other. And a lot of people don't even realize it. There's some stuff that I used to promote a long time ago that I look back and I'm like, that probably wasn't the best way to go. And it's even simple things like a cradle hold is really a bottle feeding position. It's not a breastfeeding position, but we've turned it into a breastfeeding position because that's how we're used to seeing babies be fed. So it makes sense to us. So that seems like the most natural and obvious way to feed a baby, but really there are more natural and more instinctual ways of feeding a baby that are not a cradle hold and that are more supportive of getting a good latch. All right. And then a lot of times babies will need to have some kind of body work to help address the pain that the mom is experiencing. Because a lot of times there is some kind of tension, whether it is related to ties, whether it's related to the baby's position in utero. A lot of times, a little bit of good body work can make a huge difference. Then we have to start looking at things like, let's get into oral function. Let's monitor oral function for a little bit, see if there's deficiencies there that we need to address. And then if everything checks out with oral function, and I mean a real oral function exam. I don't mean like a 30-second suck test, guys. I'm so serious. An oral function exam takes time. If it's being done right, it takes time. So if anybody, whether it's a lactation consultant, a dentist, a doctor, looked at your baby for less than, honestly, if they looked in your baby's mouth for less than 5 to 15 minutes minimum, they did not do a functional exam. If oral function checks out though, and we're still having pain, then we need to start looking at things like maybe there's vasospasms, and vasospasms can have all kinds of different causes. Maybe you're experiencing a really strong letdown sensation. Maybe you have some like intense inflammation. Sometimes it's really as simple as engorgement being mismanaged and learning how to manage engorgement and milk supply. There are so many different factors to look at, but the very foundation of breastfeeding efficiency, breastfeeding comfort is getting that good latch from the start. So you want to start there. You want to understand, am I working with my baby? How can I work with my baby? And that is exactly what I teach you in Latching with Confidence. You learn how to work with your baby's design You learn each part of the latch, how their latch is supposed to work, not just how it's supposed to look on the outside, but how it's supposed to work on the inside, how you can work with your baby to help them work most efficiently, most effectively. And then you can start getting into kind of ruling things out and figuring out, okay, well, this is checking out. That's not. Do I need a nipple shield? If we need a nipple shield, then we need to start having some other conversations. But that could help manage pain for a short period of time while we're getting to the root cause or fixing the root cause of what's going on. So we give you tools for how to work through difficult breastfeeding situations, how to know what's normal. Because when I tell you, people say pain is normal, pain is common, discomfort is normal. A transitional period is normal. Discomfort with engorgement is normal, but there's something you can do about it. You don't just have to suffer through it. There are things you can do to alleviate that pain, improve that pain, mitigate that pain, and yes, even prevent it in a lot of situations. And I am so excited to share that in addition to teaching you how to work with your baby for a really good latch and what to do if you've got a bad latch and need a little bit of extra support, I have added a breastfeeding resource library where you now have access to workshops that talk to you about managing your milk supply, managing mastitis, dealing with colic and reflux, and really getting into the root causes of each of the different challenges you might be facing. Because the truth is, most people don't just face one challenge. The challenges they're facing are actually a combination of multiple different challenges all coming together. So you can actually see how all the puzzle pieces fit together and then set yourself up for answers. Since nothing is one size fits all, you also get access to the Confident Mama Bear Society, where if there's a piece of the puzzle that's just not fitting together in a way that makes sense to you, you can actually come and ask me about it on a live video call. So here's what you're going to do if your baby looks like they have a really good latch, but breastfeeding is still hurting. First, you're going to start working with your baby's reflexes. We're going to go back to the basics. We're going to make sure the positions are the right positions. We're going to make sure our baby's alignment is optimized. We're going to make sure their oral function is working the way it was designed to. And then we're going to start ruling out other weird scenarios. We're going to figure out what's going on. And then we're going to create a plan. You're going to create a plan to improve that situation. That could be as simple as learning a new latching technique. It could be as simple as learning how to support your baby's position in a different way. Could be as complicated as figuring out if you need to use a nipple shield and teaching your baby new oral motor skills. But you're going to get all the different puzzle pieces and you're going to start putting them together. And you're going to start feeling hopeful and you're going to get answers, you're going to get solutions, and you're going to get support. I hope to see you inside of the free Secrets to a First Latch Without Pain class. And if you are ready to go deeper and take a step further in creating confidence around your breastfeeding journey, I'd love to see you inside of Latching with Confidence at littlebearlactation.com/latchingwithconfidence. All right, Mama Bear, that is a wrap for today. If this episode helped you feel a little more confident or a little more prepared for breastfeeding, can I ask you a quick favor? Go ahead and leave me a review. It helps other moms find this podcast and join us in this amazing community of fierce and confident mama bears. And hey, if you know a friend who could use some encouragement or real talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding, and all things motherhood, share this episode with her. You've got this, Mama Bear. Trust your instincts, stay fierce, and I'll catch you in the next episode.